All right, great. So next, let's talk about sales channels within Shopify. Let's click on the one sales channel that we already have here, which says online store, and we'll talk about the little I in a second. So, in case you don't know what a sales channel is in Shopify, let me explain it. A sales channel is basically an avenue that is linked to your Shopify web store that you sell on. For example, in the previous lecture, we talked about the Facebook channel. If you have a Facebook page and are interested in bringing your Shopify products to your Facebook and Instagram customers or followers, you can do so by connecting your Shopify web store to your Facebook page with the Shopify channel app. So basically, every time you add a new sales channel, you're basically adding a new avenue in which you attain sales for your business, right? Because you're not only limited to selling on Shopify, of course, you can also sell on Instagram, on Facebook, on eBay, on Etsy, on any other platform that deals with e commerce and online selling. So the online store sales channel deals with our Shopify store proper. So when we refer to online store within the sales channel in Shopify, we mean our actual Shopify web store. So as you can see here, this is why we were taken to themes and then other subtabs underneath the online store, because again, our online store is our Shopify web store. And when we go to the sales channel and click on online store tab under sales channel, we will be taken to customization options for our Shopify web store. This includes the theme, which we talked about early in the course, or of course, the pages, which we talked about also early in the course, or the navigation, aka the menu, which we also talked about earlier in the course, or the domains, which again we talked about earlier in the course. So again, just be aware that your online store is your Shopify web store. So that is what that sales channel is for. Now, before we proceed to talk about this online store sales channel, which of course is our main sales channel, this means that we currently, since it's the only one that's appearing under sales channel, this means that this is the only one that we have presently at the moment. Can we add other sales channels as well? Certainly. We would click this little gray circle with the plus sign, and then a pop-up will appear here of other sales channels that we can connect to our Shopify web store. So this means that these platforms listed here are other e-commerce slash selling platforms that are online and also some offline that we can connect to our Shopify store to be able to sell on as well. So, for example, we can add eBay, right? Let's say I have an eBay store set up, right? I have an eBay account and then I have already my products on eBay. If I wanted to add that eBay channel to my Shopify web store, I most certainly could. And so, therefore, I would have both of those connected. And you may be wondering, well, what's the purpose of this or why is it necessary? The reason why this is necessary is because instead of having to manually transfer or list every single one of your products one by one on, let's say, eBay in this example, Shopify, through connecting your Shopify platform with the eBay sales channel, will transfer all of your Shopify products and listings to your eBay account and shop automatically in one by hooking up your eBay store to your Shopify store and vice versa. So that is why it is recommended to connect these sales channels together, because every time you have existing products or new products that you create in the future, you can automatically upload those to eBay in one click. And in case you're wondering how to do that, that's something that you will be guided once you actually install this app or whatever other app for any other, online platform channel such as eBay, Etsy, and so forth. So that is why it would be good to do that if you are selling on eBay or other stores as well, such as Facebook Marketplace or Shop and so forth, right? So again, just be aware that these are what sales channels are for. Now, we are, of course, not limited to only selling online or adding online sales channels. We can add point of sale here, which is offered by Shopify, and we can unify online and in-person sales. So if I have a physical location, if I'm a business with a physical store, I can add those in-store sales using point of sale. This is also useful if you're, shipping locally to customers or allowing your customers to pick up their items that they bought online on your Shopify store. Again, you can also, of course, hook up your Google channel if you're someone that has a Google account and wants to sell on Google on, shop.google.com, because I'm sure as many of you may know, Google also has its own marketplace, its own shop button. If you want your products on your Shopify store to appear on Google and be listed there, you can definitely add the Google channel. And Pinterest as well. If you have a Pinterest account and are active on Pinterest, you can add a Pinterest channel to automatically connect your Shopify web store to Pinterest. And that way you don't have to manually transfer or add your product information one by one. The sales channel will do that for you automatically. So these are some example sales channels. And in case you are wondering about a sales channel that isn't present here and wonder if there's any more other ones, you can definitely do so by clicking the Shopify App Store and searching for the name of the company and then sales channel or just channel afterwards to see if it exists, right? And then if it does, you can install it and of course use it like normal. And then if it doesn't, then unfortunately what you're going to have to do is, transfer or add your products one by one. Now, if we click here where it says manage sales channel, we can obviously, remove or add sales channels if we no longer want them, or of course add one as well. Because this sometimes happens. Let's say I'm no longer selling on Facebook and I want to remove the Facebook sales channel. I can definitely do so by clicking here. So just be aware of this part of the tab. So let's go back and then let's click online store again. Okay, so now since we talked about adding sales channel, let's talk about this little eye icon. This little eye icon is just an icon that allows us to view our Shopify web store or the sales channel that we are on. So since I clicked online stores eye icon, that's why we're taking to our Shopify web store. That's just what that is. But now let's talk about everything underneath that, the sub tabs. We may have seen this before, right, in a previous lecture, so this may look familiar to you. But again, when we talk about online store, we're talking about our Shopify web store. So everything underneath here is our theme options, our customization options, and so much more. We can obviously change our theme here, preview our theme, download our theme, edit the code, customize our theme, which we now know where it takes us. It takes us to the Shopify theme editor in which we can change, the header and the footer, all of that, which we definitely talked about earlier in this course. Again, we can click the eye icon up here as well to view our store. Something again to bring up is that our online store is password protected. Only visitors with a password can access your online store. This is actually important to talk about. Whenever you create your Shopify store for the first time, it won't be live automatically until you actually disable the password. So every store will be password protected because Shopify doesn't want your store to be seen under construction to everyone. They want your store to be live when it's actually ready to go. So if we click disable password, which is under the preferences subtab in the sales channel online store tab, we can definitely click disable password in order for the Shopify store to go live. However, of course, we need to remember that in order to actually make our Shopify store go live and not be password protected anymore, is that we need to obviously pick a plan, a paid monthly or yearly subscription to Shopify in order for us to be able to do this, to access the disable password feature. Just know that this is where it would be under the preferences tab in the online store sales channel. But again, we will not go through every single function of this online store channel because some of these things we have already covered before. But just know the themes sub tab is obviously where you edit your store's theme, and we talked about the Shopify theme library in this course early on. Then we have the blog posts sub tab, which again, if you didn't know, again, I'll mention that you can have a blog on your Shopify store. So if you create blog create blog post button, you'll be able to create a blog post. And so typically what this is, talking about your latest collections or your latest sales or your latest discounts, any updates towards your, store's business location or whatever have you, right? The blog is really serving just as a basically way to become more personal with your customers and also let them know more about your business. Okay, and then for the next three tabs, we won't really talk about because we've already talked about them earlier on in this course. Pages, of course, deal with your different web pages in terms of your Shopify store. So this would include things like home, contact, and so forth. We've talked about this before. And then navigation, of course, deals with your store menus, your header menu, your main menu, and then your footer menu. Again, we talked about this earlier on in this course. And then lastly, domains, which is also something else that we talked about earlier on in this course. So the last tab really left to talk about is the preferences tab, something that we didn't get to before. Let's click leave page because we did not create a blog post. Okay, so the preferences tab, again, let's click preferences. So this is a tab that's important to talk about that we didn't get to. It might be overlooked sometimes because people just think, preferences, oh, it might not be something, important. But really, there's some good things here to focus on. For example, your title and meta description. Here, you definitely want to type in your home page, your Shopify business's home page. Title, this typically is your business name and your business's tagline. So, for example, something like, let's say McDonald's, their business name is McDonald's and their tagline is I'm loving it. So, definitely add that here along with a short description, 1 to 2 sentences about your business. This will improve your ranking on Google for your search terms when someone is probably, either searching your business's name or your business's tagline, or just looking for things related to your niche or again to whatever it is that you sell. So you definitely want to make sure that these two are filled. And then we have social sharing image. So this is just your image. Typically it's your logo, right? Or your banner logo, whatever have you. You definitely want to have this uploaded so that way search engines can pick it up and also build some brand recognition on their platforms. And so customers can find you more easily. Google Analytics. This is a bit more technical and you don't have to worry about unless you're, of course, dealing with a more advanced business setup. But if you have Google Analytics, which is basically a tracking number or ID that Google uses that you can add to your Shopify businesses to track your customers, their behavior, and also, just demographics about them so that way you can create more useful ads to target customers like the ones that you already have, and also to learn more about your customer base. So again, this is what Google Analytics is for. If you're working with Google Ads, this is definitely something you want to have set up, and you can paste your code that Google will provide you here in order to have it hooked up with your Shopify store. And then we have Facebook Pixel. So of course, much like Google Analytics is if you work with Google Ads, Facebook Pixel is if you work with Facebook ads. So if you have a Facebook business account or work with the Facebook Business Manager and you want to track your customers' behavior or, the links and pages they visit from your Facebook ads that direct towards your Shopify store, you can definitely make sure that your Facebook pixel is set up, right? Because without it, you won't be able to create, these Facebook ads to track your customers that are coming from Facebook to your Shopify store. And this is, of course, important to have set up if you ever want to create retargeting ads to retarget those customers that had visited your store previously, right? So again, this is just, again, for Facebook ads. So that's what Facebook Pixel is for. Then after that, we have customer privacy. Again, these are just some things you want to make sure to activate if your store is going to be, taking orders from, the European Union and of course California. You want to make sure you comply with these locations' online policy and privacy regulations. This is just something dealing with the law, again, for privacy and customer privacy. So just make sure that those two are activated once you have your store set up. And then lastly, again, the password protection, right? Which we need, well, actually second to last, the password protection, in which we need the Shopify plan to be purchased in order for us to deactivate the password and be able to have the store go live to everyone. And then we have two things. We we have spam protection and then domain redirection. Let's start off with spam protection. Again, if you want to protect your store from spam and abuse, you can enable these. In fact, it's recommended that these two are enabled. The Google reCAPTCHA. So sometimes these Shopify stores, especially if you have any newsletter text box forms or contact us forms, sometimes bots will put in spam and spam your inbox or your Shopify web store. In order to prevent this, you want to make sure that every contact and comment form and also login, create account, and password recovery forms and pages on your Shopify store have Google reCAPTCHA enabled, which is usually that thing that you check where it says, I'm not a robot, and then it has like a little puzzle for you to solve in order to make sure that you're actually a legit human. You want to make sure that you have that enabled on your Shopify web store in order to prevent spam and these bots from spamming up your forms and so forth. So these two are enabled. Make sure you keep them as such. And then again, lastly, for domain redirection, this is something we talked about early on in this course. You can have a variety of domains redirect or point to this Shopify store if you have purchased a variety of domains. And again, in order for us to be able to do that, we need to buy a Shopify plan. But nonetheless, if customers land on the wrong domain, they'll be automatically redirected to one that supports their country region. So that's a good thing about having a bunch of domains that redirect to your main domain, because that way if a customer misspells a letter or has a typo in your business's name, it's okay because you might have had that domain registered and it takes them to your Shopify store anyway. So again, you can just click enable here if it's green to enable that. Of course, in order to access this, again, we need to purchase a Shopify plan. And if we had made any changes here, this save button would not be gray. It would be a clickable green, and then we would just click save to save our preferences. But yes, this is pretty much it in terms of sales channels on Shopify. Know that you are not restricted to only having an online store sales channel. There are other online platforms in which you can sell on and connect those to Shopify to expand your business and get more sales to the customers on those platforms as well. So yeah, that is how sales channels work on Shopify.